Welcome to Let's Talk Possibility, episode 64 on the 25th of February 2013. Tonight we are asking if it's possible to trade as a business today without money, and we're speaking to Lynne, Richard and Dawn. Thanks for listening. Welcome to Let's Talk Possibility, where we explore ideas, challenge thinking and inspire action. I'm Talana Simpson, and with me is Eric Vermeulen. Today we're asking if it is possible to trade as a business in today's world without money. Can you get supplies from your suppliers and get paid, in inverted commas, from your customers without money? Lynne Glauber owns a cafe called Cafe 1145 in Johannesburg, and with the help of photographer Richard Thomson, they revamped and redecorated the entire cafe without spending any money. Dawn Pilatowicz is a board member of the Community Exchange System, which is based on an alternate currency called talents. But let's start with our actual case study, which is Cafe 1145. We want to start by asking you guys a bit of the background about the cafe. What type of cafe is it? How did you come up with the name? It's a very unusual name.
When I bought it, the name was called Cafe 1145, which was the previous owner's name in Roman numerals, actually. I liked the name. I thought that it was, the connotation was a kind of an eating 1145, you're hungry, getting a bit peckish, so I kept the name. When I bought it, it was kind of a Parisian, very white, calm effect. I was petrified to change anything for the first about year and a half. Actually, I hardly moved a bottle or a chair. I was so scared because there was a clientele already, and you kind of think, okay, well, people are very resistant to change. As it is, when I came in, everyone was like, "Where's Matthew? Are you the new owner?" Yeah, hi. I was like, oh, okay. Well. I kept it the way it was for about 2 years, and Richard and I'm not even really sure where the conversation started, but I thought it was time for a little bit of a new energy, and I asked Richard if he'd help me design a new menu. He came up with some concepts, and he presented to me, including a bill.
Quite.
Which, yeah, quite.
As a photographer, Richard, you did a
not only a photographer. I have many hats like that.
Yeah, he has many hats. I've still got the piece of paper with what he was going to do and quote and what have you. And from that, neither of us actually remember how it got to where it got to.
Yeah, so, it's just like something else to go over. You know what I mean?
Completely.
We can't even remember the decision from not asking for money for the menu anymore, and then it also went over into, you can't just change the menu because the menu needs to speak what the language of the cafe is. So we use the menu as the base for whatever else was going to happen in there. And yeah, so
how did you get paid then? If you didn't get paid in cash, did you get lots of coffee and?
Yeah, so eventually what
nice.
Lynne started doing is if I ordered food and I wanted the bill, she told all the waiters that they can't take any money from me. So in the beginning I was very resistant to that, even when she was looking away. I'd go, like, one of the managers is called Ike, and Ike, bring me the bill. And he's like, no, sorry, Lynne told me that I can't. So then we had to have that conversation. So there were all these things that were kind of happening that were leading us to having the conversation about it not being about money but about talent. Then with the whole redesign, I reconnected with one of my friends that I studied with. He could do a 3D mock-up of what idea was for the cafe. We could give him all the information, all the artwork and everything that was going to be used, and he put everything in a 3D mock-up, Marius. So it was quite weird that we reconnected at the stage, because a month after we reconnected, I gave him, I involved him in this whole thing. And explain to him, the reality of what we're trying to do here is we're trying to talent trade without knowing that there was something like CES out there already. And he was quite keen on it. He wanted to open a new dimension of his business where he wanted to get more into restaurants, because he's been doing buildings and that sort of thing, and also work as part of a network with other creative people, and not only necessarily him sitting behind his laptop. So he was quite keen on doing that. And then Lynne had a connection with a customer that always came to eat there with Anthea.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she started a company called A Second Life.
Okay.
And she's all about using...
And it's not the game, the second life.
No. It's not a game. It's not, no. So it's basically, it comes down to reusing things. So she would take tin bowls and stuff and turn them into lampshades and chandeliers and stools and that sort of thing. And she needed a platform to show her stuff. So we were able to involve all these young and upcoming artists to be a part of the renovation of the cafe or the facelift of the cafe, to give them a showcase also, you know, because she used to just, you know, hopefully somebody saw her stuff and they would come to her house and look at her stuff, and her stuff's amazing. And then we had another artist that's actually a fiance of an old neighbor of ours, who also wanted to start his own leg of a business, designing his own furniture and tables and stuff like that, and his name was Andre. And then we involved him and explained the whole situation to him. So, you know, there was just always, what we could offer them was the showcase of the cafe and the existing clientele, and then also we started actively managing our Facebook page. So we documented the whole renovation like a reality TV show on Facebook, so we can get customers' comments and that sort of thing. And as we would approach a new artist to help us with the talent trade or the renovation of the cafe, we would give them exposure on all our networks.
So that was there was no formal, like, okay, this is worth X amount of talents.
No.
We just did it in a very informal way, that we are showcasing your stuff. We get so many people in here a day, they will all see your stuff and ask.
And we need a table, so can you provide a table for that corner? Kind of thing.
Exactly. I even phoned the electrical company that I use, which is a very big electrical company, and I said to him, we will advertise and we will thank you on our Facebook page, and you know, so they did all the Presto Electrical did all the electricals for us, and that was how we traded it, saying you'll get exposure, you know, by doing this for us.
But I mean, Dawn, maybe if I can bring you in at this point, I mean, what we've heard up to now is that we're speaking to people who are entrepreneurs, who've got up and coming businesses, who would love to connect into a platform that would give them some kind of exposure. But surely not all barters would work.
I hope they've all joined already.
I have.
Yeah, I have, I think.
but I mean, Dawn, is that the foundation of any kind of business style bartering?
You know, the point of the exchange is that it's not barter. What you guys have been doing is barter. The exchange is really about trading one to many.
And if we can just say the exchange, you mean the community?
You guys
just by exchange, I just want to make it because it gets confused. It's the community exchange system.
Yes. Yeah. So it's about putting in your offerings, and then when somebody purchases those offerings, you simply debit their account, and really what you're doing is keeping a record of who's done what for whom. And it's not about money, and it's not about what can you get out of the system, it's about what can you put into the system. So what you guys have done is amazing. It's exactly what I'm hoping to do with a project of mine in Cape Town, so I need to talk to you offline about that. But the exchange is exactly about what you guys have done without knowing that the exchange existed, as one of you said. You know, it's perfect.
But I think the question there is, what would motivate somebody to sort of enter into this kind of exchange system beyond, if I do this for you, will you promote me as an artist or a business?
But that is the most amazing thing, that you just tend to attract people with a similar energy that have a similar vision, and without really having to go out there and look for it, it kind of you're just attracted. You know.
I think my biggest lesson in this whole thing is been like you know, when you go into a business conversation with somebody, you always tend to think, you know, whatever you're going to try and pitch to them, they're going to have a whole lot of questions and attack you with questions so that they know they're making an informed decision. But this was like a negotiation on a totally different level, where towards the end of the renovation, the muscle for it grew so strong that we knew we had enough people to actually do the renovation with. So whoever wanted to come on board, we were giving them the opportunity. It wasn't the other way around. So, and like Lynn said, it was one conversation and they were hooked and they were saying, cool, I'm going to tell other people about this and other people about this. So everybody's like, there's almost like, I think it was the end of 2012, I don't know, there was a shift or something, where there's a little tickle that people, when they hear things like this, they want to grab onto it because there needs to be something more.
It's about building community.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, we had people contact us who didn't necessarily come on board, but came to say, can we get involved?
How can we get involved?
Yeah, how can, it was like, the energy was ridiculous.
So let's just show, we got some photos, so just to show anyone who's watching, Pabalo's just going to, in a moment, just show us what the photos look like of the before. Well, that's the after shots. So there goes the before.
Before.
The white, as you're saying.
Yeah, very Parisian.
And for anyone
chemical.
listening who can't see the video, we will have the photos on our blog. And there's another picture there of the counter before. And then you've got the after shots coming here with this lovely, you've got a forest now in the middle of this little cafe.
Yeah.
And
I see that forest. I mean, that's obviously kind of a vinyl
mural
print. Yeah. Now, somebody who came on board with you to barter that,
yes,
they incurred some real costs.
Yes.
So what was kind of their way of thinking?
Well, the same thing. That's actually a photo that Richard took.
Mm-hmm.
And we gave it to the printers, and they're obviously getting. I mean, somebody phoned me and messaged me just now that was in my shop and said, "Where can I get hold of the wallpaper?"
Yeah.
So what they're getting out of it is business.
So we refer all any kind of printing. So I mean, I also do graphic design, so that's the other hat. So if anyone asks me about printing, I always refer them to that company.
Yeah.
So so that would be if somebody asks you about something, your first port of call would be who was involved with the whole bartering thing.
Yeah.
it's almost like a living business card.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's your little cafe.
Absolutely.
And the community that's arisen out of it.
Yeah.
So do you ever use cash now in your business?
Yeah, well, the whole process of the renovation. I mean, this is now us not being educated about how far this could go.
Yeah.
So we started the facelift with the bartering or the talent trade, and now the renovation is pretty much done. Then we met Sam, and Sam introduced us to the CES, and we were like, oh, wait a minute, this can go further. So like we on grounds now at the moment where we are investigating ways to take it further and introduce it to the rest of the community. Yeah.
So I think, Dawn, could you maybe give us a bit more background about the CES, the
Community Exchange System?
Well, the Community Exchange started in Cape Town in 2002, early 2003, and it was started by a group of people who basically wanted to create some sort of trading platform. In the UK, there have for a long time been something called LETS, Local Exchange Trading Systems, which were paper-based barter systems, exchanging systems. And they were looking for a computerized system. And Tim Jenkin, who basically wrote the software, said he had written something for his hiking club, and the hiking club weren't using it, but he thought he could tweak it to make it work for running a computerized LETS system. So that's what he did. And so it essentially was in Cape Town. I was number 435. And about a year later, Tim advertised looking for an admin person, and I saw this advert and thought, maybe somebody else will offer, and nobody did, so I became the admin person for Cape Town. And then slowly, other towns joined, and I picked up some of the admin for those. We're now over 500 groups worldwide.
Sure.
Wow.
The Australian government uses it for all their bartering, all their volunteers. You know, they have a huge volunteering system in Australia, and all their volunteers are now joined onto a specific exchange, which is just for the Australian government volunteers.
So, immediately
So CES is huge around the world.
Yeah, so something that I'm picking up there is one thing that's very topical in South Africa, obviously, is this whole unemployment, getting out of the poverty cycle. Yeah. Imagine if we could get something like that set up for disadvantaged communities or impoverished communities, whereby they can engage in...
We have an organisation in Cape Town called Soil for Life, and one of the things they do is they teach people how to grow their own food. and they go into the townships and into the shack dwellers, and they teach them how to grow vegetable gardens. And every single one of those people, it's a prerequisite that they have to join the community exchange. And then we run markets in those areas, and they bring their veggies and their stuff that they've learned how to make themselves and sell it at the markets.
Well,
So it is about getting into the communities and getting them to stop, get everybody, not only those communities, but all communities, unaddicted to money.
Yeah.
which is interesting because we seem to think the only way to exchange goods and services is with money.
Exactly.
Money was created because people were bartering. And, I didn't always want tomatoes anymore because I became allergic to tomatoes. I wanted to take my fish and swap them for somebody else, but you still wanted my fish. So that's why money got created in the first place. Unfortunately, it's got to the point where we think that we're working for money. We're not. We're working for other people's goods and services. And money is just the means of exchange.
And I'm guessing with the advent of money, I suppose, come concepts such as interest, inflation, etc. Whereas in a direct product-to-product kind of bartering system, those kind of concepts probably become a bit less important and more difficult to define.
Definitely.
Well, basically, it's the debt and the interest that has put the entire community and the entire economy worldwide into such a state of complete chaos, because the money is created out of thin air, but the interest to pay back the money isn't created. So the only way you can ever pay that interest back is by stealing somebody else's money. And that's the issue. With the CES and with any alternate currencies, there is no money. The money is created at the time of transaction.
Yeah, because it's not based on debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because what's
exactly.
interesting
There's no
is
you can't ever have no money. Sorry, you can't ever have no money because there isn't any money in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
and it's based on you offering something to the community, your which is your time and energy in whatever format, whether it's your product that you make or your service.
Yeah. But the point is that it's something that
and
you
imagine
have.
if every person on earth offered what they liked doing, what they loved doing, what they were passionate about, rather than doing a job simply because they have to earn money.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest bonus of what you've just said there, Dawn, is we'll put lawyers and accountants out of business.
We are, probably would. And they can do what they really love doing.
I can assure you we still need them.
So what's interesting there is, I don't know if you guys saw what's happening in Greece at the moment, is their whole economy is almost collapsing, and I was reading up about it. They've created an alternate currency called TEM, T-E-M. And they've also got a computerized system. So it's not the CES system, but they've created another currency and system, and their government's actually supporting it.
It's exactly the same. It is exactly the same as the CES. And in fact, what we're doing, Tim's busy working out, is being able to intertrade between different alternate currencies.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. That'll be very interesting.
Very cool.
So, and the one thing when I was reading about it, there's a lot there that came out about the community as well. So like Lynne and Richard, you were talking about the community aspect of the alternate exchange.
Yeah.
How people that are involved in it were just feeling like they much more positive and that they were part of something. Just by rocking up with their pies that they made, and going to the market to sell it, and then getting credits that they could then go and buy what they needed.
Exactly.
I think that's
Absolutely. That's what it's about.
I think it's such a relevant point, that because, for example, had Andre delivered his beautiful table that he did, and I would have paid him, and he would have said, "Thank you very much, goodbye." That would have been the end of it. Instead, we have developed such a relationship. And it will be an ongoing relationship because it is on a different level.
So it's kind of like, I always say to Lynne when I speak to people about the cafe, you want it to become like a community centre that offers good food.
Yeah.
So we've started a photographic club from there to get young and aspiring photographers to come, and we give them missions once a month, and whoever's photography is the best for the month will get exposure in the cafe.
Oh, wow.
So one of the reasons why I also want to start all these different clubs is I remember after I studied, then you have to go into big companies with
Yeah.
your little portfolio.
Yeah.
And you have to go be intimidated by all these other people who are actually intimidated by your work, but they don't want to say it. So instead of doing that, you want to approach people, and this is weird for people to grasp.
Yeah.
It's a mind shift where people are actually coming to them, saying to them, give us your work. You know, we want to show your
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
they're like, what do they mean?
What's
you know,
the catch?
why don't I have to go ask in the first
Yeah.
place? So it's a bit of a mind shift
Yeah.
that we are also tackling.
It's a definite mind shift. But I think that came about with the whole mindset of a barter system comes a whole mind shift anyway.
Well, yes, because
Talent, yeah.
a barter system removes the cold clinical nature
Yes.
of money,
Yes.
which
Drama of
becomes
money.
a sort of a very one-sided kind of transaction.
Exactly.
It's very difficult to make any kind of connection to cash, whereas by the very nature that you produce something, you have a stronger emotional connection to it,
Yes.
which means that in order for you to move that, you need to foster an equal emotional connection with the person that you're bartering with.
Definitely.
And so now trading or getting what you want no longer becomes just about getting what you
Yeah.
want.
Yeah.
It becomes about what do I really have to offer, not just somebody else, but the community at large.
Absolutely.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, do you
I call it the difference between greed money and heart money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
lovely
Nice,
there.
nice.
That's so lovely. And Dawn, I was wondering if you had any personal experiences of the community that's grown up, that's down there in Cape Town, the community around the CES.
Well, you know, for me, for starters, I'm disabled. So every single time I step outside my house, I need help. And it got to a point where I was too embarrassed to ring friends because, you know, am I ringing them because I need help or am I ringing them because they're my friend? And with the community exchange, I now have thousands of people that I can employ to help me and pay them talents rather than feeling as if I'm being, you know, I'm getting a handout. And being in that situation where I need that handout, that hand up, has made me so much more aware of how we dishonor and disrespect people by giving them a handout. We have, you know, it's so demeaning. And people want to contribute, and this gives them a way of contributing because they can do something, they can be seen to have value, and that's the beauty of it, is you're valuing and you're respecting everybody rather than just being this anonymous greed, you know, what can I take from you?
Yeah, or feel like you're being taken advantage of
Yeah.
when someone keeps asking you.
Yeah.
You're at least getting something in
Exactly,
exchange
and I
for
don't
it.
want to do that anymore.
Yeah. So can I also just ask you, Dawn, what are the kind of things that you can get on the talent exchange?
Oh, anything from dog walking to attorneys, doctors, dentists, and everything in between.
Sure.
So for me, I need treatments because I've got a degenerative disease. I need to have regular treatments. So on Fridays is my treatment day, and you know, if a new treatment comes onto the exchange, I can try it. If it was in the Rand economy, I wouldn't even dream of it because I certainly don't earn the money to be able to pay for it. But talents are unbelievably easy to earn. You know, they're too easy to earn that you sit with too many talents and you don't know what to do with them. So my biggest expense once, because I had too many talents, was grow a tree in Joburg, go and teach children how to grow trees from seed. And I sponsored a school of, I think it was 639 kids,
Sure.
and paid for it all in talents.
That's amazing.
Wow.
So, you know, that was 6,390 talents. I wouldn't spend 6,390 Rand.
Yeah.
Never. But talents are easy. So it's about, you know, you don't care how much people are asking for something because talents are easy to earn. And if that's what they think their service is worth, then pay them what they think it's worth. Whereas if it was money, you would say, oh, you know, can't you give me a discount? Can't you reduce your price? And then you make them feel as if what they're offering is not worth anything.
And isn't there
Whereas
also
in a talent exchange, you're paying them what they want.
isn't also part of the community of the CES? There's also a rating system. So if you like were going to I don't know what the word is. I'm going to say buy, but it's not buy. If you were going to trade with someone for their services, but you're not sure, there is a rating system, hey, or you can leave comments.
There's not a rating system. There's a recommendation
That's
page.
it.
So when people have good services, and even sometimes if you've had a bad service, because you're still dealing with people, so not everybody is as ethical as we would hope them to be, but hopefully the exchange will change them. But there is a recommendations page, and anybody can go and post a recommendation, be it good or bad, about somebody. And then you also, you meet them at the regular markets. You start meeting people. And I trade with the people that I've met. I seldom trade with people that I haven't really met in person.
Okay.
So, Dawn, when you say markets, are these like gatherings of the community exchange system?
It's like a flea market. It's like a flea market where everybody, but there's no money. You walk in, you pick up something, write down your account number, and walk out.
Cool.
First time I went, I thought, oh, somebody's going to stop me at the door. I'm stealing it.
Yeah.
But nobody stopped me.
It's amazing.
So one thing I wanted to ask you.
It's a wonderfully freeing. I mean, it just opens your heart.
Free experience.
It just opens your heart.
The other reason I think it works so well is we were talking about the community, but it's also location based, because right now what's happening in South Africa is as far as I know, Cape Town's community exchange system is thriving, and Johannesburg is only starting. It's starting to develop. So can you explain that aspect, because it's based on location?
Has a different mentality to Cape Town. Cape Townians are the odd people, and Joburgers are the business yuppies. Yeah. That's kind of the perception that everybody has.
But doesn't it also work?
People. Sorry, yeah.
Doesn't it also work then on numbers? Because if I were to go to the community exchange flea market in Johannesburg and there's only 10 people, versus going to the community exchange market in Cape Town where there's 200 people, there's much more variety.
Yeah, but you see, we still don't even get the 200 people at the market. It's still the same 30 or 40 people that maybe go, but you're starting to meet the people, and that 30 or 40 people shifts. The numbers change. And you create, it's about creating little networks in little areas. I started doing a meet and greet at my home, and then I'd invite 5 people, and then they'd invite a friend, and then you've got 10 people sitting around there, and suddenly there's this little community set up, and then they all trade with each other.
So it means it's almost like the communities really are location based, which is like what happened with the cafe.
Yeah. Exactly.
And how much flux do you find in these communities? How fluid are they? Do people come and go? Do people stick around for a couple of months? Or
there seems to be a core of people who, when they really get it, they will stay. I mean, if I need anything at all, the first place I look is on the exchange. And if I can't find it there, then I post on the Facebook group in the exchange saying, does anybody know where I can get this? Because to me, that's my first point of call. And there are people who come and go, and then suddenly when they're in a bind, then they suddenly revive their account because they no longer have any money to spend. So now they want to use the exchange again. Because with the exchange, of course, you can go into debit straight away. Because if 2 people are facing each other and one says, well, when I've got enough credits, I'll buy from you. And the other one says, well, if I had enough credits, I would buy from you. And then the trade would never happen.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be in debit, somebody's got to be in credit, because the overall system is always at 0.
Oh, it's interesting.
I think that one of the most difficult things to get past here is that it's not some kind of hippie concept. And also in Johannesburg, people are very weary of, like Dawn says, she has a meet and greet. Like if you suggest that to Johannesburg society, it's like, for what?
Who am I going to meet?
What's going to happen there?
Very
so
skeptical.
I think that whole mindset of Joburg is very different to Cape Town.
But isn't it a result of a kind of a Joburg thinking that's very much grounded or founded in this whole concept of what's in it for me?
Definitely.
I mean, Joburgers don't tend to do stuff.
Definitely. And Joburgers also, I think, we are much more closed. So if this is your circle of friends, this is your circle of friends, and there's very little space for new people to come in. Because people are always wary of, well, why, that same thing, why do you want me, and why do you want me to, and I think that we've got to get past that and get people to understand it isn't something that struggling people are wanting to do a talent exchange, because that's what, if I've got enough money, I'm going to go and buy whatever it is. Why do I need to get involved in the talent exchange? So I think that is the biggest challenge.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe just to wrap up then is just to ask you each, the question is, so do you think it is, where's my question? Is it, the wrong question. So do you think it's possible then to trade as a business without money today? So who would?
I think
Richard.
Like I said, we only like wetting our feet with it, so we're seeing what the possibilities are. The renovation was a big success in terms of that. Keeping the business alive at the moment, I think certain areas of it, yes, but the reality is that you still have to pay rent, you still have to pay your staff, you still have to, so at the moment, getting our feet wet and seeing what the possibilities are, we're very open to that.
So maybe like a hybrid economy where it's half cash, half
it's half
talent.
that, yeah. So we're getting our feet wet with that to see, how it's going to work, out. Because we obviously still have to keep the place open in terms of that. But in terms of what services can be offered, to give you guys an idea, the lady that's offering us the HR service at the moment is to get the staff on board with this whole mindset of what it is about. She uses the space for her workshops, so we give her this wonderful forest experience, and all her customers this experience with the dipped and dusted chocolate workshop, where her partner is now launching his new gym. So I'm doing his whole campaign for his new gym because of the services she's giving. So what we're going to be doing now, and what we've once we've joined the CES, now we can actually start doing it with talents. Which is quite cool. So
and a nice way to track it.
We're giving it a structure.
Yes.
Structure,
which is quite cool that CES offers.
Yeah.
But I think certainly from what I'm hearing from everybody is that, particularly on a project-by-project basis, the whole talent exchange system is an amazing way to get stuff done.
Yes.
Definitely.
And also, we're getting her energy in, and we're not getting somebody that's asking us 1,000 rand an hour for consultancy fee.
Yeah.
We're not getting that energy in. So we're getting her energy in of something she wants to do, because she knows that whatever energy I'm going to be pushing back into her partner's business or into her business is going to be the same thing. It's not going to be the drama of money.
And you're all doing what you're passionate about.
We're doing what we love.
Exactly.
So Dawn, what is your point? Do you think it's possible to trade as a business without money today?
Absolutely. I do think, as somebody said, it's a hybrid at the moment, because I think we're dual citizens. We're still sitting in the old world, and this is a new world that we're creating for ourselves. And the best way for a business is to be able to, for starters, give their staff bonuses, increases, overtime, pay them in talents. Then that brings new people into the exchange. And then the business obviously then has to earn the talents in order to be able to pay their staff. And what they could do is offer a portion, or say, I'm going to offer five of these for this month, and when those are done, they're done, or a percentage of their business in talents, and then they're earning, because it's got to be a give and a take, and you're getting more and more people joining. And also talk to your suppliers. I have this policy: every single person that comes into my business, I pay them the rands, and then I join them onto the exchange so that I can pay them talents next time round.
Okay.
No, it makes sense.
And Lynn, your view?
Just when Dawn said something about, just to digress for half a second, when she said about paying your staff, the staff that were at the meeting last week were all like, oh my word, we've learned something new, this is amazing. So I think that eventually it may be possible to run a business on it. Right now it's definitely not. As I say, until the whole world's in, until landlords are going to accept talents as rent. But I think that to be able to explore the possibilities is amazing.
And I think if more governments come on, so it's very exciting what Australia's government is doing then. Is that they're exploring the talent exchange.
Exactly.
Great. So if you'd like to find out more about our guests, you can see their profiles on our website. Just type "Let's Talk Possibility" into your search engine. And if we could just have one way to contact you, Richard, how could someone contact you if they wanted to get hold of you?
I'm usually best over email or Facebook. So
just give an email address then. Or?
It's wedinart. It's WEDINART @gmail.com.
Great. And Lynn, how can people get hold of you?
They can get hold of me at Lynne, LYNNE, at cafe1145.co.za.
Great. And Dawn, what's the best way to get hold of you? Twitter?
Dawn at Dawn at CES for communityexchangesystems.org.za.
Cool.
Great. And we'd love to hear your views. So tell us what you think about if you can do your business without money in today's world. You can tell us on our Facebook page or tweet us at LT Possibility. Next week, we are going to be looking at fathering and trying to get fathers to be more involved in bringing up their children and what's possible for our society if we had more involved fathers. But until then, from me, Talana, and all of us here on Let's Talk Possibility, have a great week and go find the possibilities.